Guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing our Smackdown review. Smackdown on paper looked really good, and the show was really great, and it was definitely a Triple H ran show. There's not even a question if Triple H ran this show or not. So we started off with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and I thought it would be appropriate to use this picture of Sami hugging KO. You love to see the friendship between these two. And it still feels weird to see the Usos without the titles. But basically what happened was the Usos came out afterwards. And Sami was still saying, like, hey, Roman, you shouldn't trust Roman, yada, yada, yada. The Usos countered. Jimmy said that KO shouldn't trust Sami. And it basically turned into a back and forth of, like, who's going to turn on each other sort of thing, which is very interesting. Then we got the Bloodline threat in the ring. We got Jimmy and Jay, Solo threat in the ring. Sami and KO were in the ring. And then Matt Riddle came out. I don't know why I don't have a picture of Matt Riddle. But it was basically the same thing the last couple of weeks. Matt Riddle coming out and saving Sami and KO and having the Bloodline go in retreat. After that, we got one of the best parts of the show, baby. LA Knight coming out, and the crowd is hooked by LA Knight. And I absolutely love to see it. He absolutely deserves it. Dude is an actual megastar. And it didn't take long for this man to hook the fans. And LA Knight faced Xavier Woods in a match. And Xavier Woods ended up winning last week. And this week, Xavier Woods rolled up LA Knight for the win. And, I think the whole story of this is having LA Knight be on a losing streak. The biggest thing that I want out of this is LA Knight to win Money in the Bank. This is my sold-on pick to win Money in the Bank. LA Knight should absolutely be winning Money in the Bank in London. I think the crowd reaction would be nuts. I think it would be perfect. But Xavier Woods won. And we'll get into a little bit later how Xavier Woods' win pays off here. But one of the biggest pieces of news is that the WWE Draft has a date. In 2 weeks, which is April 28th on Friday, the draft will begin. So in 2 weeks, we'll find out who will be drafted to SmackDown. And then on May 1st, we'll find out who gets drafted to Raw. So basically, the draft will be April 28th. We'll find out who gets drafted on SmackDown. May 1st, we'll find out who gets drafted to Raw. I'm not quite sure if people will be sent down to NXT. I know there's been some surprises like Apollo Crews in the past that has been sent down to NXT. We've seen Dolph Ziggler show up on NXT, so you never know. But I'm glad that we got a date, and I really hope we get a lot of changes from the draft. I think like Seth Rollins to SmackDown. I'll make a video about my draft predictions later on. Next up, we got a backstage segment involving the Judgment Day. Dom playing that mega heel that he always loves to play. The Judgment Day and LWO storyline is very much one of the best things going right now. It is so good. I'm very hooked by it. Especially Ray versus Dom. Damian Priest has been picking up wins lately. And, I think that surely we're going to get Zelina Vega versus Rhea at Backlash in Puerto Rico. But before the LWO, or before Damian Priest versus Santos got started, we had this backstage segment with the Bloodline. Paul Heyman bringing up a lot of Bloodline members, or Legends of the Bloodline, like Rikishi and stuff. And Solo didn't like all that Paul Heyman talking. And as soon as Solo turned around, I caught this hilarious picture of Jay in the back being like, you know what? Yeah, Paul, you should stop talking. And Solo's like, I got this. Don't worry about it. Matt Riddle ain't gonna beat me. Stuff like that. It was a great segment. So funny with the Usos' reaction in the back. Then we got Damian Priest versus Santos, and just wanted to show you a picture of Zelina. I don't have the video of, but basically Zelina did a Hurricane Rana to Rhea on the outside. So basically, Zelina is not afraid of Rhea. And over these past couple of weeks, Zelina has stood up to Rhea, which, like I said, should absolutely equal Zelina versus Rhea at WWE Backlash in Puerto Rico. But about the result of the match, Damian Priest ended up winning. There's craziness. The LWO and the Judgment Day were basically full on attacking each other. Then Ray came out and stuff. And Damian Priest pinned Santos for the second straight week, which, I mean, was to be expected. I wasn't expecting Santos to win here, though it would be nice. I was expecting Damian Priest to pick up the win. And Ray versus Dom, and Ray and Dom also brawled afterwards. It was a crazy ass segment, but I love it. I mean, this LWO and Judgment Day storyline is awesome. Next up, we got the championship celebration, celebrating Rhea and Raquel and Liv winning the women's tag team titles. And as you may have probably guessed, the celebration didn't go as planned. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, aka the Karen team, came out to interrupt it, wanted to know why they weren't getting opportunities, blaming Adam Pearce, basically everything that they would do. And it looks like we are going to get a title match down the road between these two, a tag title match, which I don't mind. I think Sonya and Chelsea have done a great job of what they're doing. And I think this is a fresh matchup, and it's a good matchup. Next up, Shinsuke Nakamura's return. I love Shinsuke's entrance, the crowd singing along, goosebumps every single time that happens. I love the attire that Shinsuke came out in all black, and he faced Madcap Moss. Madcap Moss's entrance is so, like, basic. Man, I don't know what to say about Madcap anymore. But Shinsuke squashed that man. And also, after Shinsuke squashed Madcap, it looks like we're going to get Karrion Kross and Shinsuke a rivalry going on. I don't mind this. I think this is good for both guys. I think Shinsuke is going to win the rivalry. But if Shinsuke doesn't win the rivalry with Karrion Kross, I'm going to have some problems. But I like this rivalry. I think it's going to be a good rivalry. And Karrion Kross, if you go on Twitter and look at Karrion Kross's post, you could definitely tell that these guys got to have a long-term rivalry. Next up, we got some title match information. Intercontinental title on the line next week on SmackDown. Gunther versus Xavier Woods. I really hope that Xavier comes out in his King attire. I know he won't. But this match is going to be great. Hopefully we see a lot of offense out of Xavier Woods. Gunther winning is obviously going to happen. But I can't wait for this. Then we got the official confirmation of Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green facing Raquel and Liv for the women's tag team titles. Another match that is going to be great. I think both of these matches are going to be great. SmackDown's looking stacked next week because also Ricochet and Braun Strowman versus the Viking Raiders is going to happen next week. About Solo versus Matt Riddle. It was a great match. The Bloodline. Oh, before we get to that, almost forgot. The biggest title match of them all is happening in 2 weeks. A rematch of WrestleMania Night 1. Sami and KO versus the Usos. This match isn't going to be like Night 1. There's going to be shenanigans going on in this rematch. I don't know what kind of shenanigans are going to go on. I am obviously going to pick KO and Sami to hold the titles. I just don't think it would make sense for them to lose. Now, a lot of people were mentioning the fact that the Saudi show could affect the status of Sami and KO's titles. I hope not. And it should not happen that way. Absolutely not. It's one show. Please don't have Sami and KO drop the titles because of one show. So, that match between the Usos and Sami and KO in 2 weeks, it's going to be nuts. I don't think it's going to end clean at all. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Now we get to Solo versus Riddle, and the match was good. Matt Riddle, in his first match back, I believe, suffers a loss to Solo Sikoa. So it looks like Matt Riddle can't get rid of Solo, and Solo's beating him clean and stuff. You know, obviously there's a lot of hijinks. You know, the Sami and KO and the Usos were brawling outside the ring, but Solo wins. And Solo wasn't done after that. Solo threw the entire announce table onto Matt Riddle, and Sami and KO had to help him. So it looks like a 6-man tag, Solo and the Usos versus Matt Riddle and KO and Sami looks very certain for WWE Backlash. Looks like we're going to get a confirmation maybe by the end of the tag team title match in 2 weeks. I'm thinking that's where they announce it, where the hijinks sort of happen. But yeah, that was SmackDown. Overall, a brilliant episode of SmackDown. It was really fun to watch from start to finish. Hopefully Monday Night Raw steps up. I don't think Monday Night Raw is going to get really good until after the draft, hopefully. So, yeah, another great episode of SmackDown, the best weekly wrestling show. And with that being said, see you guys in the next video.